With videos of UFC owner Dana White battering his wife now spread across the internet, commentators everywhere are asking questions about spousal abuse, the UFC's future, and of course Dana White's future. But there's a question people aren't asking. Does this represent a pattern, or at the very least, a larger trend of a resurgence in white male violence? Once is an incident. Sure, Dana assaulted his wife in public and faced virtually no backlash from the white, no pun intended, media, but this is a one off, right? Well, that could be the case if not for the recent revelations that Leigh Moonves, who is the former CEO of CBS Corporation, whom had claims of sexual assault, bribery, and intimidation levied against him by actress Bobby Phillips, got caught again. Moonves has also been accused of assault by an unnamed victim, according to the LAPD. However, leaks have revealed that LAPD personnel have been aiding Moonves in covering up the case by alerting him to the victim's accusations, not filling reports of the initial assault, and by alerting Moonves to the victim's name and whereabouts. Okay, twice is a coincidence, right? Well, what about the now infamous Chris Choka B. Albrecht, the former Star's CEO, who quite literally did a Dana White UFC move on his colleague Sasha Emerson, who was a former executive vice president? He was put on leave by Stars, but retained his salaried payout and had no blowback in terms of media coverage. Albrecht still works in the industry to this day. What do Dana White, Les Moonves, and Chris Albrecht have in common? A clear pattern of white males indulging in all types of foolery and violence, yet there is consistently a white populace that goes silent when it comes to condemning their actions. In fact, as far as group dynamics are concerned, the white community goes out of its way to ignore these abusers in hopes of focusing on a black man to demonize or at the very least divert attention to, from President Biden's alleged abuse of Tara Reid to California Creative Endeavor's slew of accusations of sexual harassment of its own employees. White-owned corporations, political parties, and media ventures tend to engage grotesque levels of abuse and misconduct. What's worse is the white community's pattern of covering up the misconduct, which has led many critics to theorize that white community has a pathological problem with spousal abuse and violence in general. B1 Daily chronicled this extensively in our hit piece, Rampage, the New White Supremacist, where we detailed the ever-changing psychology of the modern white supremacist, his motivations, and the targets of his efforts. There, it's noted that a large part of white males' psychological motivation surrounding his need for constant assertion of his perceived dominance is in part due to their lack of virility. Is the white community suffering a violence problem with its youth thanks to physiological circumstances or environmental? Studies confirm that white males tend to have significantly less testosterone than black men. Could this be the physiological reason for their lashing out? While this may be considered a valid explanation for why white men keep beating up their female counterparts, it can't be an excuse to let a moral crisis fester. The white media has ignored the epidemic of white male abuse, but the black media has a moral obligation to shine a light on the carnage. Barrington Williams, B1 Daily.